This is the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show.
Hello and welcome into a special playoff edition of the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show. I am Alex Egan alongside Beth Hool, getting you set for North Dakota State and San Diego in the second round of the FCS playoffs. Before we get into today's game, and we'll bring in alongside the rest of our crew, there was some news that broke this week around the NDSU football team, and it concerned the dismissal of 3 players from the Bison football team: senior safety Darren Kelly, redshirt freshman quarterback Henry Van Dellen, and redshirt freshman wide receiver Sean Engel. All of those 3 have been dismissed from the team for a violation of team rules. Head coach Chris Kleiman not commenting very much on that, just saying that they are no longer a part of the Bison football team. Junior wide receiver Dallas Freeman has been suspended for 1 game, and that will be this game against San Diego today. We got a chance to talk with some of the guys a little bit this week. You got a chance to talk with Trey Dempsey.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, one of our competitors asking Trey about how the team is going to respond to this. It was a common question for all of the players this week. Everybody said that it wasn't going to affect the team, that they were moving on, that the team, they had who they needed on the field right now. But Trey Dempsey had some words that I think would make Bison Nation real proud. If we can take a listen to those now. All right, well,
everybody on this team is responsible, and you got to be responsible for your actions. And if you make choices that aren't the best choices, there's consequences to them. So always be a Bison and think like a Bison, and try to represent this program as best you can.
That's got to make you proud.
Yeah, try to represent this program the best you can, and that's what I think all of these players want to do. And I think they understand that there are consequences with your actions, and so that is the state of the Bison football team with dealing with the off-field issues. Let's turn our attention to the on-field stuff, and let's take a look at the bracket for North Dakota State. Just the NDSU pod, the games that we are concerned about really in the immediate future. That's NDSU taking on San Diego. That game will be on ESPN3, so we will take you right up to the top of the hour, or to the 2:30 mark where kickoff will be, and then you can flip on over to ESPN3 to catch that game. Also on ESPN3, just underway, Wofford and Furman. Winner of that one will come to the Fargo Dome should North Dakota State pick up a win over San Diego today. So let's talk about this game, and let's go to our man who's been roaming the sidelines all year for the Bison. That is Ryan Gellner. Hey, Ryan.
Hi guys, North Dakota State is 61-6 here inside the Fargo Dome. On the flip side of it, San Diego, they're 0-1 playing here just a year ago, as you mentioned. But San Diego ranked 2nd in the country in time of possession. They ranked 1st in the country in 3rd down conversions. They want to keep their offense on the field. They average over 39 points a football game. So the key for San Diego, keep the offense on the field. Their quarterback, Anthony Lawrence, is a gym rat who's experienced. The offensive line is experienced. All 5 offensive linemen for San Diego played in this building a year ago, so they should be very good with playing inside the Fargo Dome. And some of the X's and O's, crowds, things like that that can affect teams should not affect them. But NDSU, on the flip side, gets another chance at San Diego, a team they scouted a year ago, really spent some time on this year as well. The Bison should be ready. Wide receiver Justin Priest and tight end Ross Dwelly have 23 touchdowns amongst them on San Diego's side. The Bison will have to watch out for them. And we will talk about Jonathan Peterson, who is a stud. He needs just 1.5 sacks today, so 2 sacks gives him the FCS record in career for total sacks. That's how good number 95 is. We have this thing covered all over the place. Brian Sean and Lee Timmerman are upstairs in the concourse of the Fargo Dome. We go to them right now, guys.
All right, thanks so much, Ryan. Appreciate it. Brian Sean, Lee Timmerman out here in the lobby of the Fargo Dome. And LT, this should be it's fun to play playoff football back again. You know, it just seems like the season flew by in the regular season. We were in August, and here we are, and North Dakota State a chance to take on San Diego, which is also deja vu.
It is a little deja vu, and the one thing, too, I think when you take a look at these two teams when they come in here is you always talk about the eyeball test. Well, the Bison are going to pass the eyeball test big time when you look at these two teams. NDSU is bigger, and the NDSU is going to be faster. So if you're San Diego, then you better make sure that you're technically correct to be able to hang in a game against a team like NDSU.
And you feel like NDSU has been waiting for this opportunity to come, you know, after what happened last year in the semifinals in December against James Madison. The 2 seed and NDSU, the 1 seed James Madison, you don't want to look too far ahead, but at the same time, you got to figure these two could be on a collision course once again.
Well, if my opinion means anything, and in terms of who wins football games, it doesn't. But I think the top 2 seeds hold, and I think that we'll be doing this again in Frisco, talking about the 1 and the 2. But yeah, we got a lot to go before you get that far. But I like the possible matchup down the road. That's what makes it fun. You get to talk about it. We get to look ahead. Players and coaches don't.
For North Dakota State, what is the key today, LT? I'm guessing the most important thing is playing a clean game and trying to keep everybody healthy here moving forward to the quarterfinals next Saturday or Friday.
Yeah, I think the main advantage that the Bison offense has is, again, we talked about the speed, but if you think of the types of plays against the other USD, the Coyotes, that went big in the running game, some of those really long runs that NDSU had, I think those types of runs are available today, and if that happens, look for the play action, because I think the Bison have a chance to have some pretty big plays to go for touchdowns today.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. We'll throw it back to the studio with Beth and Alex, guys.
All right, thank you very much, guys. We'll be checking in with them throughout the rest of the show there from the concourse of or from the lobby, I should say, of the Fargo Dome, where the atmosphere looks like it's going to be great. We want to tell you some breaking news that came out yesterday. Nick DeLuca has accepted an invite to the Reese's Senior Bowl. I said Reese's. I never say it like that. DeLuca is going to the same game, same week that a couple guys named Carson Wentz and Joe Haig were able to shine at.
Yeah, and he's actually, I think we figured out, the 7th Bison ever to play in this Senior Bowl. This is a huge opportunity for him to advance his potential to be drafted into the NFL. I think everybody is expecting a future for Nick DeLuca, but this is a huge opportunity for him to show his stuff against some of the best, take away some of those questions of, but he played FCS.
Right.
And able to level the playing field for himself a little bit. A huge honor for him, especially coming back from injuries to continue to fight through, and more than anything, a great young man who's represented NDSU well.
Absolutely. Good luck to Nick. I'm sure he doesn't want to talk about any Senior Bowl stuff because he'd like to be talking about games that actually matter for the Bison here for the next few weeks. Actually, yes, we would. We are going to step aside. When we come back, we'll break down the Toreros a little bit. We'll get to know who this team is. We saw them last year. We get to see
some new
again.
Moving parts, though, for them.
Definitely,
so a lot
there
to look
is.
at.
Yeah, we will talk about all of that still to come here on the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football pregame show.
They only been here one time, so I do think the crowd noise will still have an effect, and we still have that home field advantage that we're looking for every year.
Trey Dempsey talking about the crowd noise. That will definitely be a factor today as the Toreros have made their way into the building to get set to take on the Bison. Second straight year. That guy's still excited about it. Snapchat. Still excited about coming into the Fargo Dome. It was their first time last year. They didn't fare so well when you look at the final score, but hey, you never know. Second time in, teams have a little bit better of an understanding. And there is a good look at their head man, Dale Lindsay, and he is one heck of a football coach.
Yeah, he certainly has a reputation. He certainly has a resume when it comes to his coaching experience. He said this week, once the team got to town, that last year they were warned, don't come in, don't go out for the tunnel walk. It's intimidating. Avoid it as best you can. Keep your guys in the locker room. He said this year he's not going to mess around with any of that. The players are going to be out there. They're going to take in this atmosphere because he thinks they can handle it, and if anything, he thinks it'll help pump them up.
Certainly a good team. Let's take a look at Dale Lindsay's resume, if you will. It's his 5th year at San Diego. He's got the chops to be a coach. He's been an assistant on 6 NFL teams. He played in the show 9 years for the Browns, and look at that, 46-12 record at San Diego.
No scholarship players. He's selling these guys on a lot of things. These are hard-nosed athletes. He competes when it comes to like the Ivy League schools, when it comes to recruiting, and he's winning those recruiting battles. He's got some outstanding talent, and I think if there's any way that the Bison lose this football game today, it's by coaching, and I don't bet against the Bison coaching staff. But if anybody could do it, I think Dale Lindsay is the kind of guy, and that's why I think you're going to see San Diego hang with the Bison a little bit early on. They're going to have a great plan of attack. I think that's what you saw against Northern Arizona. They got out-coached.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. You could see it in that game when San Diego beat Northern Arizona in the first round of the FCS playoffs. It was definitely the team that was more disciplined, and that was San Diego, that came away with that victory.
They're certainly disciplined, but they've also just had a great game plan.
Yeah,
I mean, you saw it. San Diego ended up with an opportunity where they called Northern Arizona's bluff. They said, throw it down the middle. We challenge you. They took away those wings, and they opened up that downfield, middle of the field attack and said, try your best, and the Lumberjacks couldn't do it, and San Diego won the game. Now, I think you challenge North Dakota State like that, and R.J. Rosendowski is going to beat you downfield right up the gut. So I don't foresee that same challenge being laid out today, but they're going to have their own way.
And to add to that, Northern Arizona doesn't have the tight ends to run those seam routes like NDSU would do. So if you leave the middle of the field open, the Bison will make you play. Let's catch up with the voice of the Toreros, Ryan Gellner, down on the field to get us a little bit more acquainted with the San Diego Toreros. Ryan?
Thank you, guys, and welcome back inside the Fargo Dome. Jack Cronin in his 11th year calling play-by-play for San Diego, and a San Diego team, Jack, that I think still wants to prove some things.
Oh, you know, there's something left to be done, right? You know, the big win against Northern Arizona was a huge difference. A 31-point win last week. They dominated that game. And after winning last year against Cal Poly and kind of proving they belong, it was that next step last week of saying, well, now we can really dominate one of these games here at the next level in the playoffs. So the non-scholarship team coming in here against the 5-time national champions of the Bison, second straight year. Maybe it's a little bit different here in 2017.
You've got playmakers back, different running back, but a quarterback that's been here, done that. He can move the football, and a couple of really good wide receivers, one of them coming out of the tight end position. You've got playmakers on offense.
Well, it's really true. Ross Dwelly's that guy you're talking about at tight end. He's getting looks at the National Football League here. It could be a guy, just like Jamal Agnew at corner last year, could send Ross Dwelly to the NFL next year at tight end. He's been 3 years in a row one of the leading pass catchers for this team. The other guy is Justin Priest, who led the PFL with 1,000 yards receiving. He's an amazing player. Was on SportsCenter last week with a one-handed grab against Northern Arizona. You mentioned running back Emilio Martinez. All he's done is step in and have a 1,000-yard season as a true freshman running back to replace Jonah Hodges, who you saw last year. So, yeah, there are guys all over the place. Even Michael Bandy, the number 3 receiver here, is a great playmaker on offense. And, of course, Anthony Lawrence makes it all run here. How about the accuracy? 33 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions on the season, 67% of his passes, an amazing, consistent player and only a junior.
And on defense, Bison fans and the Bison coaching staff, they want to know where number 95 is at all times.
No, that's true. Jonathan Peterson, better put 2 or 3 guys over there, right? Jonathan Peterson, if he were to get 2 sacks today, would break the all-time FCS record. Think about that. That's not the PFL where they have the non-scholarship teams. That's not just the San Diego record.
It's the whole shebang.
It's the whole thing at FCS. So if he gets 2 more sacks today, now obviously a tough task against the offensive line the Bison have, but 2 more and the all-time record is within reach. He's already coming in with 41 career sacks.
A little bit more about the Toreros. Hope you know what is on tap for NDSU today. Jack, I really appreciate the time. Thanks for explaining things to us, and good luck today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us one more time.
Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks, Ryan, and thanks, Jack, for taking some time to speak with us. We'll talk a little bit more about those guys that he mentioned, Ross Dwelly, Jonathan Peterson as
Absolutely.
well. But first, we got to give away some gift cards.
Equally as important,
yes,
the tailgate lots
the
with Mike Morgan.
Lot. Yes, absolutely. Mike has found some people that want to win some gift cards. Mike.
All right, thank you, guys. We're out here at the tailgate section, and we've moved into a playoff version of our tailgate trivia, and I've got 2 contestants here. But before we do that, I just want to say thanks to some of the folks over at the True Blue Social Club and Lucky 13's Pub for providing us with our $50 gift certificates, and that's what we're playing for. Are you ready to go? All right, your name?
Josh Heath.
Josh, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Nervous?
Nah.
All right, let's get to playing. Here we go. And you can get help from the crowd, all right? During the regular season, the NDSU Bison football team scored 72 points in a win over Mississippi Valley State. Are you with me so far?
I am.
What was the least amount of points the team scored in a win this year? Was it 20 or was it 28? Crowd? Oh. Nope.
20. I was like 20.
Okay. It was 20, he says. 20 is the correct answer. That was against Illinois State on November 18th. So, Josh, congratulations. There's your gift certificate, a $50 gift certificate to the True Blue Social Club. Congratulations. All right. My next contestant is no. But you're glad you're on TV. Your name, please?
Corey.
Corey. All right. You ready to go? Nick DeLuca is a senior linebacker for the Bison. What is Nick's hometown? Is it Omaha, Nebraska, or Rolla, North Dakota?
Omaha, Nebraska.
What was the laugh for back there? Omaha, you say? Do you know anybody from Rolla, North Dakota?
No, I don't know anybody, no.
Okay. Look it up sometime. The correct answer is Omaha, Nebraska. It's Omaha, Nebraska. Corey, that's my hometown. Oh, okay. You win a gift certificate to Lucky 13's Pub, a $50 gift card.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for playing. Get back in here. I want to make sure you get on TV, okay? All right, thanks so much for playing. We're going to throw it back to the studio. Go Bison!
All right, thank you very much, Mike. The pride of Rolla, North Dakota. There's a few prideful North Dakota fans out there, North Dakota State fans out there. We will have so much more here to come as we get you set for FCS playoff action here on the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football pregame show.
They're not going to miss fits. They don't blow coverages, and they play really hard. And so they got a really good defensive end that, you know, has a chance to break, I think, an all-time record. And so guys that have played a ton of football, guys that are experienced and play really hard.
Easton Stick talking about the University of San Diego Toreros making their way into the Fargo Dome for the second straight year in the second round of the FCS playoffs. So it was fun talking with Easton a little bit this week.
Yeah, it certainly was. And him talking about a certain defensive end who's going to be coming for him, one of those concerns is who's available to protect Easton Stick.
It certainly is. And, of course, the Bison get the bye week. That's the main topic of conversation in this week's Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Injury Report.
Hi, guys, and welcome back to the sidelines here in the Fargo Dome. We are with Dr. Bruce Pyatt of Sanford Health for our Sanford Health Update. And Dr. Pyatt, it's been a week off for North Dakota State University and a week where the Bison have been able to get more healthy. That bye week comes at a good time.
Oh, you can't even express how important it is. You know, a lot of people the last few weeks have been kind of scoreboard watching, looking for where our placement was going to be. I've been watching it because I know there's a bunch of kids on the team that could use that week off. And we've been so blessed these last few years to get that week off over Thanksgiving. And you can't express how important that is. People who are just really fighting season long with kind of nagging injuries that you can never get the break to allow the body to recover, it helps them tremendously.
Common medicine, all those things come into play, but rest seems to still be the best.
Rest is incredible. The body is an amazing thing, and if we allow it to do its job, you know, we have all these medications and everything else, but really most of those things are based off trying to develop something the body already has and to kind of enhance that. So if we give the body a chance to rest, let its own natural anti-inflammatory substances take effect, it can really do wonders for us at that point. And also not beat it up at the same time and further injure it.
Yeah, because football, as they say, is pretty physical. Almost every player has nicks and bruises this time of the year. Doc, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds good to me.
Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks, Ryan, and thanks to Dr. Pyatt. We hope we talk to him next week. Austin Cooner making another appearance on the injury report. He has had a leg injury that he's been dealing with, but I think we get some good news about him today, as well as Darius Shepard. I hear they're going to try to get him to go as well. Dom Davis, Levi Jordheim also nursing some leg injuries. Let's get into our North Dakota Beef Commission quarterback comparison. We'll start with the quarterback for the Bison, and that is Easton Stick.
Yeah, we got to talk to him this week, as you just saw coming into this segment. Easton Stick looking real comfortable, real confident, more chatty than he typically is. He's a very business-oriented young man, and he seemed relaxed and confident, very, very confident in this offense and where they're going, telling me that they've had a good plan all year long. It's continuing to trust in that process. Also asked him how he's feeling. You know, we talked about some of these quarterbacks who take hits throughout the season. Asked him how he's feeling. He's played the whole year. He says he's never felt better. That's thanks in big part to this NDSU football staff working on their flexibility. He says that's made a huge difference.
And on the flip side, the North Dakota Beef Commission quarterback comparison, Anthony Lawrence will come back to the Fargo Dome for his second straight year. This kid, look at these numbers, 33 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. That is amazing. Yes, I know they play in the Pioneer League, and yes, that's a non-scholarship
But he throws
league.
the ball.
Yes, and he's still doing it. He's already over 3,000 yards passing. His completion percentage is phenomenal there at 65.5. That's that number that we always talk about, that 65% with
Alex
Easton Stick.
Egan loves
So
it.
there it is. That's who will be throwing the football around for San Diego. You know, with the playoffs, we like to do some special stuff, so we're going to take a look back and talk with a former Bison in a fun segment that we did last year a bunch. We're bringing it back for the playoffs.
That's
It
right.
is Once a Bison, sponsored by Proceed.
Our Road to Frisco series continues. Our Once a Bison, Always a Bison segment is sponsored by Proceed, and this week it is former Bison linebacker Pierre G. Tucker, who was a national champion in 2013, 14, and 15, played major roles on the 2014 and 15 national championship teams. Let's start there. When you look over at this guy from 2015, what's this mean to you?
It means a whole lot to me. You know, it's very humbling just knowing that in high school I never had the chance to really get a ring or even go further into the playoffs, and just being able to be a part of something big like this is great.
How does football and things like winning national championships, so playing at the top level in football, how does that prepare you, or how has that prepared you for what life throws at you?
It's definitely helped me in many ways, mainly just being able to fight through things when it's tough, and just knowing when you have a big goal and you put everything into it, it can just definitely be attainable, you know, and being around the culture and everything just shows you, like, having people around you that support you and having like-minded people can really take you far as well.
Catch us up with you. You've been away now for a year into the real life. I know you're still going to school, but...
So right now, currently I'm helping out the team doing some coaching, just like Brad and Brocious. So helping out with those guys. I'm also working with Northwestern Mutual. So doing some financial things with them, finishing this last bit of school so I can graduate next month. So doing that, still training, staying in shape too. So I got a whole lot going on my plate, but maintaining.
Your senior year, which is last year, 2016, no secret around here, the Bison didn't win a national championship, which is almost unheard of the last couple of years. Does that still bother you? I mean, does that still have a place where you're like, we missed that one? And maybe more importantly, the group of seniors this year, and the team for that matter from this year, you think that still grinds at them?
Yeah, definitely. No, it bothered me personally. I mean, and I know there's a few other guys too, but especially me being a senior, you know, I want to go out the right way. You know, I didn't want to be the class that stopped the run, you know, things like that. And then the fact where I wasn't fully healthy and I couldn't help the team like I wanted to, just because I was coming off that knee injury. Then also for the other guys, you know, we all been grinding, going through the same things year in, year out, going for the same goal, and then to come up short like that, it hurt. But at the same time, it's a learning tool. You know, to let us know that things aren't guaranteed, and you have to work just as hard because everybody's going to give you their best shot, you know, and you got to really cherish the moments you do have.
A year ago, your team played San Diego in the playoffs. Lopsided score, but still a pretty good football team. To me, this year's team, San Diego, they're better.
They are a good team. They're well coached. They're a lot like us in many ways, even though they don't have scholarships on their team, but they also, like, they have athletes, and the guys that they don't have that are supposed to be very athletic, they're very technical. You know, they a lot like us in many ways, and they're very well coached.
Pierre, good to see you. I'll let you say it. Once a Bison.
Always a Bison.
This is the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show.
Hi, and welcome back inside the Fargo Dome to the concourse of the Fargo Dome, where we get set for San Diego and North Dakota State. The winner moves on. The loser goes home for the season. We start with our keys to the game, and they are sponsored by First International Bank and Trust. We get into our first key, and you may have heard this word recently, or this phrase recently. It's dwelly dwelly. Well, we're talking about a little different dwelly dwelly, but let's talk about the 6'5", 245-pound tight end. He is a matchup nightmare. Great hands. He catches everything around him, and he is a future NFL draft pick. North Dakota State has gone up against really good tight ends this season. This one ranks right near the top. Brian Ross-Dwelly, he looks a lot like a guy that we know from down I-29.
Yeah, I don't know if he has quite the versatility of Dallas Goedert in terms of getting down with his size in addition to his speed, but this guy's a special player, especially for a non-scholarship guy. He's a really talented player, and I like how they use him. They flex him out a little bit like what North Dakota State does with Jeff Ilias, and I think he's a pretty versatile guy, but fortunately for NDSU, they got guys like Nick DeLuca that can run right with some of these tight ends, so that's a pretty good matchup, I think, for NDSU today.
Yeah, we'll watch what happens there. We're going to our second key, and our second key is simply to ID JP. And JP is Jonathan Peterson, who's a 6'1", 240-pound right end. He leads the nation in sacks. He leads the nation in tackles for loss. He'll line up all over the place. The thing is, he goes 100 miles per hour on every single play. Lee, the Bison need to know where number 95 is.
They certainly do, but I think one of the big things there is what you said right off the top there, Ryan. He is not a big guy. He's totally about speed, and sometimes those speed guys can take themselves out of a play. And a play that I think the Bison are going to run quite a bit today, and I think a play that's going to be successful, and it was last year against this team, is C-gap power. We know about the A-gap and how well NDSU does that. Well, this is the same type of play, a little bit further outside, and if you run it toward his way, he might sprint himself upfield, open up that big gap, and then hit some long run plays. Remember last year when the Bison played these guys, I know Easton and Bruce and Lance all had 50-plus yard touchdown runs, and I think those types of plays are available today as well.
Brian, when you talk about Peterson, he's a guy that's got 15 sacks on this year, but he's creating and moving after some unbelievable numbers career-wise. He's the real deal, and he gets after the quarterback.
The best part, I think, about him is the fact that he wasn't even really recruited by University of San Diego. They kind of let him come on and essentially be a walk-on in a non-scholarship program, and he blossoms into this tremendous defensive end. He is undersized, but so is Kyle Emanuel. He's explosive off the ball, and he plays so hard from snap to whistle every single play. And I think his durability, the way he's able to hold up, and the motor that he has, along with the rest of this, I think, defensive unit, especially in the front seven for San Diego, is what makes them, I think, a special group, especially at that non-scholarship Pioneer League level.
How do you exploit the San Diego defense? Well, I think you can air it out today, and that is our third key. We look for Easton Stick to throw the football and throw it down the field, because San Diego is ranked 42nd in total defense. They are 5th against the run, but they are 116th out of 123 teams against the pass. They allow an average of 268 passing yards, giving up 21 passing touchdowns. LT, it sounds weird. The Bison could throw themselves to victory today.
I think they're going to throw the ball very well today. Obviously, it's set up with the run. I was talking with Coach Hedberg earlier this week, and he said that in the quarterback room, both Stick and Davis found a couple of keys that they really like in pressure situations. He didn't tell me what they were, but he said that the safeties are the key to this, and that Stick has a very good read on what those pressures are and where the pressures are coming from. So if you can pick up the blitz, it's not going to be effective. Safeties will be sucked down. Passes will go over their heads. That's why I think R.J. Urzendowski is going to have a big game today, and I think Jeff Ilias has a big game as well through the passing, like you talked about.
One guy that was effective catching the football, running the football, actually joins us now. Chase Morlock joins us from the concourse. And Chase, you played this team a year ago. They're a lot better than they were a year ago. They know what to expect. Your take on today's football game, how well does your football team have to play?
I think that we just got to do what we've always done. I mean, we're a team that's had a ton of playoff experience, and I mean, like I said, we played these guys last year. We know they're going to come out here and play hard. They like to emphasize a lot of the same stuff we do on defense and offense and pounding the football and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't think you do anything too different than what we've been doing the past 4 or 5 years. You know, we come in here, we focus on what we can do best, and we'll take care of business. Yeah.
Brian? I know, Chase, you've been in this position before. You've been at this part of this program to know what it's like when the postseason comes and how that changes. I know conference games are intense and all that, but how does the team look at the postseason differently when you get to this point in December?
You know, I think everything just kind of gets amped up a little bit. I mean, I'd be lying if you say you don't get a little pumped up a little bit more for playoff time. I mean, you get fired up, and but we still go in and we just focus on the small details, and not a lot changes in game time prep and week prep. So, you know, we do the best we can to be prepared, and we come out here and you got a little extra adrenaline going when you start the game, but it's still another football game, another opponent to beat to get to Frisco. Most important question is, how hard is it going to be to watch a postseason game for the first time, not in number 25 that we're used to seeing you? Yeah, this whole season's been tough. I've been antsy and itching. I'm usually at home watching you guys on the TV here, but in the stadium today, and just going to be pumped and rooting the guys on, you know. Yeah.
Chase, we really appreciate the time. You look great. Thanks for joining us. We hope to see you down the road.
Yeah, thank you.
You can tell this guy is training people. He still looks like $1 million.
We'll be back to the Fargo Dome after this. Head coach Chris Kleiman is on the way. We'll do that next. The Bison are right around the corner.
The Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show.
and welcome back to the Fargo Dome. We are in the concourse as fans get ready for San Diego and North Dakota State. It is the second round of the FCS playoffs. The Bison have won 7 straight Missouri Valley Football Conference title. It's the third time that the Bison are outright champions, and that opens up this week's edition of Herdline News. The Herd have claimed 3 of the top 5 honors in Valley Conference play. For the first time in his career, head coach Chris Kleiman was selected as the Valley's Coach of the Year. Linebacker Jabril Cox was both the Freshman of the Year and the Newcomer of the Year. He's the first ever Bison to win that award. North Dakota State had a league-high 11 players voted to the All-Missouri Valley Football Conference All-Conference team. Let's go through those first-timers and first-teamers. They are fullback Connor Wentz, guard Austin Kunert, long snapper James Fisher, linebacker Nick DeLuca, along with safeties Trey Dempsey and Robbie Grimsley. On the second team all-conference, running back Bruce Anderson has made the team. R.J. Urzendowski is one of those members, as is center Tanner Volson, D-tackle Aaron Steidel, and linebacker Jabril Cox. Right tackle Zach Johnson, kicker Cam Peterson, and quarterback Easton Stick, along with D-tackle Nate Tangway, earning honorable mention. North Dakota State might be as healthy as they've been in a long time. That bye week certainly helped. Before coming upstairs, I had a chance to catch up with Bison head coach Chris Kleiman, and we asked who's in and who's out. Chris, one thing the bye week does, it allows you to get a little bit healthier. Give us the status of Austin Kunert.
Yeah, well, Kunert will be back starting. You know, he missed the last game of the season, but he practiced all week, and he'll be full go. You're not going to keep Cooney out of this game.
Shepard at wide receiver, another body that you'd like to have back. Will he go today?
Absolutely, we'd like to have Shep back. We're going to work him out and go through warm-ups and see how he's feeling, and our hopes are that he's going to be able to play.
Pretty good San Diego team. If Bison fans aren't familiar with them, they do a lot of nice things. Their record, it's not just conference-based. It's a pretty good football team.
No, it's an excellent football team that deserves our respect. They had been here before. I don't think the stage will be too big for their guys. They're an offense similar to ours. They want to run the football, set it up with play-action pass. They have a quarterback that makes great decisions, and then their defense is really opportunistic, and they do a great job stopping your run.
Obviously, you guys want to run the football. They, though, at least on paper, seem a little susceptible to the pass. Will you be able to throw it today?
Well, there's no question. We still need to run the football. And I told the guys, I don't care if it's inside run, outside run, gap scheme, quarterback run, whatever it may be, we have to be able to run the football because it will soften up some things. And guys like RJ and our tight ends, I think, have to have a big day because we have to be able to win some of those one-on-one matchups, because if you are going to have everybody stop the run, you have a lot of one-on-one coverage.
Is there a renewed focus, a renewed excitement, because it is playoffs, it is December football?
Well, no doubt. Our guys are excited to play. We haven't played in a couple weeks, and some of the guys thought Illinois State was more an event than it was a football game with the weather. So you and I know how that was. But I think I know our guys are excited to play. But in the same respect, San Diego's coming in here with some renewed focus to say, hey, you know what? We played those guys first half toe-to-toe, and we've cautioned our guys. I think it's going to be a great four-quarter game.
We'll let you go. Talk to your football team. Good luck today.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Lee Timmerman and Brian Sean rejoin us now from the Fargo Dome lobby as fans get ready for this second-round playoff game. And Brian, Chris Kleiman has won 50 games in his career. He's 50-6 overall, which is unbelievable. They do the playoffs pretty well as well.
Yeah, and I think that helps. You have a staff that has, for the most part, been intact for the last few years, too, ever since the departure of Craig Bohl. I think that just makes everything so much easier. You know what you're supposed to do. You know how to prepare. You know how to get your guys ready. And I think you also have strong leadership on this football team from a player standpoint with 20 seniors that knows how to get ready as well. And you can't underestimate the importance of that. Also the other thing you really can't do with it is don't take it for granted. We've taken it for granted for a long time around here that, of course, we're going to the playoffs. It doesn't happen for every program every year, and it has happened here now the last 7, and that's pretty impressive.
Those 20 seniors, Lee, they know what it's like to lose all of a sudden, because last year they didn't get to the championship game. I would assume that feeds on them a little bit in this playoff run.
It certainly has to. There's nothing like being depressed at the end of a season to provide motivation for the next one. But I'll just kind of follow up a little bit on what Brian was talking about with the playoffs. And when we first started this statewide Bison television network, NDSU, quite frankly, for a while was not very good. But, you know, Gene Taylor and Craig Bohl had a vision, and we've been able to enjoy that vision. I remember Craig telling me, I think it was after the first year he was here, he wanted this Bison thing to turn into like Nebraska is. And you know what? It has. And as Brian said, don't take it for granted. Don't. we kind of do. We expect this team to be in playoffs, and we expect this team to make a deep run, and when they lose in the semifinals, everyone's disappointed. That's how good a run this team's been on.
It's pretty well said, and it's pretty true. This Bison football team hopefully getting ready for another run. Fans still filing into the Fargo Dome. The game is on ESPN3 today, but our pregame coverage will go right up until kickoff. We go back to our Fargo studio when we come back.
I didn't play last year, and I think that factors in a lot. I think DeLuca didn't play last year, and that factors in a lot. And some of that stuff that we're doing this week with some bigger, heavier personnels against their bigger, heavier personnels, I think is going to bring us a big advantage.
I totally agree with him. I think that's a huge part of this. Not only did Tangway not play, not only did DeLuca not play, Pierre G. Tucker didn't play in this game last year, and Jabril Cox didn't play in this game last year, and I think he's going to be a huge game changer. Now, he couldn't play in this one. Those other guys were out because of injuries. But Jabril Cox, I think, is going to make a huge difference in stopping San Diego today.
Certainly one of the things that we'll be keeping our eyes on is how different this Bison team does look and how different this San Diego team does look, as we are about 10.5 minutes away here from kickoff on the Coors Light countdown clock. And
with that means you have 10.5 minutes to figure out your ESPN3 thing. Kickoff will be at 2:30. Make sure you get set up for that. Disclaimer.
Very good. Let's take a look at our Bobcat Heavy lifting report today. And we've gone with the Wolfpack, which is one of the best names of a position group on the Bison defense.
Yeah, certainly. Out next to crew chiefs, I think, those tight ends. Yep. But you know what? That's right. The Wolfpack going to have a huge day today. We've seen what those tight ends and what those receivers can do for San Diego. I think they are huge game changers, so I think these guys are going to be tested. I think the defensive line is going to win the battle for NDSU, hands down, being able to rotate in those guys, having those guys back that we just talked about. But this group is going to be challenged, but I think they are better than the receivers and the tight ends that San Diego brings to the field.
San Diego's got some great receivers and great tight ends as well. That Justin Priest, number 8, you'll be seeing him fly all over the place. 85, Ross Dwelly is the tight end. He's got over 600 yards receiving, 10 touchdowns. Anthony Lawrence, the last thing that I put on there is Pickett. Anthony Lawrence has only thrown 2 interceptions this year. He's thrown for over 3,000 yards. He's only thrown 2 interceptions. And
well, Trey Dempsey says bring it.
Yeah.
I asked Trey, do you wish you could have had some of those passes? And he goes, I wish anyone would throw the ball at me. Nobody throws it to Trey anymore. He's number 3 in NDSU history for interceptions. He wants it. He wants the ball. Bring it, is what he said. I love that.
It's been a while since he's gotten a chance to have an interception. He was off to a great start.
Yeah, he's still leading the team in them.
Yeah, he does fantastic ball hawking back there. The other thing that we really wanted to talk about was the Bison offense and how Easton Stick will be the key to slowing down this very active San Diego front. You know, when I watched their game against Northern Arizona, the word that I wrote down was relentless. Their defensive line, they're undersized guys, but they are relentless, and they're led by Jonathan Peterson, who we've been talking about all show long, who needs just 2 sacks to break the all-time FCS record for sacks in a career. And when I watched him, you know, he reminded me of somebody who was a little bit smaller, coming off of that defensive end side. That was a Buck Buchanan Award winner from NDSU, and that is Kyle Emanuel. Well, Peterson is a Buck Buchanan Award watch list nominee, so we'll see. I see a lot of similarities there.
Well, Easton getting a little smirk when you ask him about this young man. He knows he's coming for him. His job is to get after Easton Stick. Easton knows he's coming. Easton will be sacked today. It will happen.
Yes, it's going to happen.
He will get sacked in this one. But I think what happens is as this game progresses, I think you're going to see that dominant offensive line from NDSU with Austin Coonert back, who is such a fighter. He wouldn't miss this game, even if he was on one leg, which he, you know. But he will, I think, eventually, and the numbers that NDSU's offensive line has will wear them down, because while San Diego is athletic, I think NDSU is tougher and deeper.
The word that kept coming up all when we were talking to the Bison players this week was they play hard. We have to practice hard, and we need to set the tone physically. That's what NDSU was saying, that they need to set the tone physically against this San Diego front, and I think whoever does do that is going to have success today. No physicalness out in the physicality out in the tailgate lot. This was a terrible segue. Let's go out to Mike Morgan. Oh boy, he's going to give away
Take it away,
some more.
Mike.
Oh my God, I'm getting nervous.
You're what?
I'm nervous.
Okay, well, it's okay. We're back out here doing trivia again, and Jocelyn, I guess that's your name, right?
Jocelyn.
Yeah, okay, we talked earlier, right?
Yes, we did.
Okay, we're going to start with you because you're the nervous one. Everyone is anticipating whether or not you're going to get this. And I have to tell you that so far, throughout this entire year with Bison Trivia, no one has gotten it wrong.
Okay.
All right, here we go. You ready? From a scoring standpoint, what quarter has been the most productive for the Bison football team this year? Is it the third quarter or is it the first quarter? And you can ask the crowd to help you out.
I'm gonna say the third.
The third. The first quarter, the Bison have scored 119 points. The third quarter, 128 points. Yes, you are correct. That's got to take the edge off of it a little bit, huh? Congratulations, you win a $50 gift card from the Lucky 13 Pub.
Awesome.
There you go. All right. My next contestant's name is?
Matt.
You realize that she got it correctly. She was nervous. No one has gotten it wrong this year. How you feeling now?
I'm nervous.
Here we go. Who is the leading scorer on the Bison football team through the regular season? Is it Cam Peterson or Lance Dunn? Yeah, there's not a lot of help here. Cam Peterson or Lance Dunn? Any? Lance Dunn?
Oh. Cam.
You're going against. Lance Dunn scored 13 touchdowns and 78 points. Cam Peterson, 8 of 12 field goals, 55 extra points. Lance Dunn, once again, 78 points. Cam Peterson, 79. Excuse me just a second.
I couldn't see your answer card.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Congratulations. You win a $50 gift card from the True Blue Social Club. Thank you so much. Fun crowd here. Thank you again. We'll be back, and when the Bison win this week, we'll be back next week for more trivia out here in the tailgate section. Back to the studio.
We hope we will be back out there next week.
Stop
Bison
saying that. We
and
will
San
be.
Diego. Coming up here, we'll get our final thoughts as we wrap up the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show.
This is the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show.
Let's go out to the Dome to get our final thoughts from the guys. Guys?
Hey, for me, it is who's the real San Diego? They average 39 points a game, and can they get it done against this Bison defense? Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to say tight ends have a big day today. Connor Wentz, Jeff Illies, 2 seniors, underrated guys, getting it done.
Defensively, the Bison have an athletic advantage, so that means they have to be disciplined. Disciplined, I think, especially from the defensive back, biggest thing today.
Guys, it's your turn.
All right, thank you very much, guys. What your final thoughts?
Just play Bison football. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to the Bison owning their ground.
One of the things that I wanted to say, unforced errors. You know, San Diego didn't make a ton of them against Northern Arizona, but I think unforced errors is where this is going to come. Who's going to be able to overcome penalties, mistakes, mental lapses, turnovers? That's what is going to be the difference in today's game. I still think the Bison roll.
Absolutely. Well, we want to make sure you guys have time to get your ESPN3 set up. You sign up for that or you log in for that with your cable provider information. Call your cable provider if you're having some issues. That'll be on ESPN3. We'll have full recap tonight at 6 and 10.